Good morning. Hello. Josh here reporting from Rockland Lake State Park. Once again, these are the first words that are coming out of my mouth on this day, this Monday morning. I don't know why I'm in this pattern of just doing. I just have this morning routine. I'm a morning person. It's 6 a.m. So it means I just walk the lake at like 5 o'clock. And I get so much stuff done. I kind of have to now that I have a job with long hours, and if I'm going to do this stuff at all, it has to be early. But anyway, hi. I had a weekend, and I did a lot of stuff this weekend, but I also streamed a little bit. What I did was I streamed the new Beverly Hills Cop movie on Netflix, and in preparation for that, I also rewatched the original. So I don't have any kind of relationship at all with this franchise, with the original movie, but given my proclivities as a collector and movie guy, it was like a 50-50 chance that I owned the original on Blu-ray. And I looked on my shelf, and I did. I own a Blu-ray, not just a DVD from back in the day, but I upgraded it to Blu-ray at some point, even though this movie means virtually nothing to me. So I rewatched it. I've seen it a long time ago. I think I've seen all of them at some point, but I revisited the original in anticipation of the Netflix reboot, legacy reboot, whatever it is, sequel. And you know what? This, it's fun. The Beverly Hills Cop it's just funny how life goes. That I was a kid in the 80s, and so when the original came out, Eddie Murphy was just kind of like, sorry, there's a hair on my phone, so I was just about to blow. There you go. Sorry about that. Eddie Murphy was very, very, very famous, and he popped in the mid 80s. But he was kind of for grown-ups. He was dangerous. He was vulgar. He was impulsive and chaotic. And so I was young enough that, I was intrigued, but he was just not for me. And Beverly Hills Cop was an R-rated, gritty, violent, vulgar, but funny movie for grown-ups. And it's funny just to see, 40 years later, that this is kind of like cozy, retro, safe zone type stuff. It's not dangerous. It's not like edgy. It's just kind of cozy, funny schlock for grown-ups. But it's fun. I'm good with it. So yeah, I rewatched the original. Here's another part of my pathology of movie watching is that I listen to a lot of podcasts, and a lot of mostly improv and comedy podcasts, but also movie podcasts, and a lot of deep dive podcasts. And Blank Check is one of the most popular, and I'm a big fan. I've seen them live a couple times here in Brooklyn. I'm not in Brooklyn, but I'm close enough to Brooklyn that's where I see most of the shows that I see. And anyway, so they are doing a series on Martin Brest, who's the director of the original Beverly Hills Cop. And so it all just kind of came together. I don't know if I would have bothered with any of this if it hadn't been like, oh, I can prep for a Blank Check episode and then also have a Netflix thing to watch, to stream, to talk about. So anyway, that's all the setup. I watched the original, pretty good. Martin Brest, at the height of his powers at that point. And this is a movie famously developed for Sylvester Stallone as a straightforward, straight-ahead action cop movie. Just the simple idea of what if a gritty Detroit cop had to go to Beverly Hills for some reason. And then what, but turned into a vehicle for Eddie Murphy, who had already been in a couple of hits, but this is unbelievable. I guess that's the other thing about Beverly Hills Cop is you can't undervalue or underestimate the cultural impact that this movie had. It was huge. So, and revisiting it, it's got a few creaky jokes. It's got some things that don't land the same way 40 years later, but it is what it is. The appeal of Eddie Murphy is undeniable, and it's fun. It's one of those movies that has a lot of good, character actors. Jonathan Banks is in there. Bronson Pinchot is in there as Serge, a character who would recur, I guess, throughout. And then John Ashton and Judge Reinhold so the original one, I guess, is a classic. It's not, I don't have nostalgia for it, although I remember its impact, and rewatching it was fine. It still works, it holds up, it's good. You can see, it's very fun to see Eddie Murphy operating back at that time. So then the new one on Netflix, the fourth one, Axel F is the subtitle, and directed by someone who, this is a feature debut. I think this is someone in advertising. It used to be the music video directors that would then get like graduated up into doing, a movie in a franchise to test them out if they were ready for features. Now I guess it's advertising guys. This guy's done a lot of Apple stuff apparently. So this is in some ways a very typical legacy reboot sequel thing, but it's one of the better ones, I would say. I think it really benefited from watching the original. Well, in some ways it hurts, in some ways it benefits. Meaning, watching the original again, especially since I'm not overly familiar with it, I was able to see how they kind of played with the structure of the original. A lot of it is straight up homage and repetition, but you can appreciate, what they're doing in terms of putting the movie together. On the other hand, you can kind of see how creaky, I don't think Eddie Murphy's like washed up or done or anything. He just has a very different energy than he did in 1984. He's just not, he's not that guy. He's not scrappy, right? He in 1984, you bought him as a Detroit cop who was always getting in trouble, who had nothing to lose. Now he just kind of has like, movie star, comedy, Godfather kind of a thing going for him. He's got different energy now. So seeing him put on a Leatherman jacket and try and be like scrappy and cool again, the movie, it plays with his age a bit. He's aged very well, so he doesn't look like an old man. He kind of moves like an old man sometimes. And of course, Rosewood and Taggart are back. Although it seems that Judge Reinhold might have had some kind of an issue with scheduling because he's not in the movie. They have just a contrivance of the plot that he's been kidnapped by a cartel, and you don't see him until the last act of the movie. I don't know what the reasoning behind that is, and even then he just kind of stands in the background and looks, mugs and makes goofy eyes, and then has basically the shootout scene from the original with him and Taggart. It's kind of like replayed almost exactly. Anyway, the new additions, the new elements are Kevin Bacon as a seedy, dirty cop who's the villain, who does not have any kind of arc or any kind of surprise or any, he's bad from the first time you see him until he gets dealt with. And then Axel Foley has a daughter. I don't remember the sequels enough to know if this was set up or if they're adding this in now, but Taylor Page, who is great and plays his daughter, who is now a defense attorney, and so a lot of cops don't like her because she's defending criminals. But basically that's what brings him back to Beverly Hills, and is to look out for her and whatever. And Joseph Gordon-Levitt is the young, cool detective who, against his will, ends up partnering with, he's kind of taken the new Rosewood role, even though Judge Reinhold is still in this movie. And Joseph Gordon-Levitt, he's got an undeniable, I guess, appeal and energy, but it always just, I don't know, it's a weird energy, and I don't know that it gels so well with Eddie Murphy. I don't know what Eddie Murphy's doing in this movie. Again, he's great, he's a legend, he's funny, but this movie can't quite decide if he's still cool and sexy or if he's old and creaky. And again, he just doesn't have that like dangerous edge that he had. So it's fine. If you like Beverly Hills Cop, it's worth seeing the new one. That's, I guess, the bottom line. Otherwise, this is certainly not any way to jump on board with the franchise. And I would say if you are at all curious, just watch the original and see what you think. So that's all. That's my streaming adventure. I have a couple tickets. I think it's horror movie week this week. I have tickets for Maxine and Longlegs, which are two movies that I've been curious about, have been awaiting for some time, and that'll be fun. So I will catch up with you soon. I also owe you guys a short, so I will get to work on that this week as well. And thank you for watching. Thank you for liking, sharing, commenting, all those things. And you can join us on Patreon and see these videos right when I record them. So, all right. Thanks a lot. See you later. Bye.